All right, so you're going to be heading into this technology services team training.
Yeah.
And let's be real, a little prep work never hurts.
Never hurts to be prepared.
It never hurts. We've gotten our hands on the agenda, and we even snuck a peek at the slide deck.
Ooh, sneaky.
That'll give you that
Insider information.
that insider edge.
I like it.
Yes. What I thought was really interesting about this one is we have surprise activity right on the agenda, optional, but they added bring your creativity.
Oh, interesting.
That's not something you see every day in a tech training.
Not usually.
No. In my experience, it's usually
very dry.
Very much focused on
give me the information.
The hard skills.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's unusual for sure. I mean, when you think about it, most of the time, tech training is very, process-oriented. Step 1, step 2, step 3. This is how you troubleshoot this issue.
Exactly.
Throwing something in there that's a wild card, like bring your creativity, suggests that they're trying to shake things up a little bit. Maybe they're recognizing that there's more to just, the technical side.
Yeah.
Maybe they were looking for some of those softer skills.
Problem solving.
Yeah.
Teamwork. Maybe even a little design thinking.
Absolutely.
Those are all things that are needed for these tech roles, even if they don't scream IT support at first glance. So let's take a look at each team that's going to be covered.
Sounds good.
And we're going to start with the systems team.
Okay.
They're going to be kicking things off with Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
Yes.
Always a good time.
Always important.
Always a good time to remind people to be thinking about cybersecurity.
Especially these days.
Especially these days.
Oh my gosh.
Lock before you walk is the message here.
Okay.
But the agenda also says they want to get some feedback.
Okay.
What sort of feedback do you think that they're hoping to get?
Well, I mean, I'm sure that there's going to be some people who are like, oh, yeah, lock my computer. I know.
Right.
Like, we get it.
Eye roll.
But, this would be a really good opportunity for you to shine in the training. Like, go in there.
Okay.
Prepared with an example of a data breach that happened at a company because somebody didn't lock their computer.
That's a really good point because it's easy to dismiss it until you see the real world consequences.
Exactly.
Next up for the systems team.
Okay.
We've got onboarding, offboarding procedures.
Okay.
And listen to this. It's the update you've been waiting for.
Ooh.
Sounds like maybe the old process wasn't a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, or it was just time for a refresh.
Or maybe it was just time for a total refresh.
Maybe.
Either way, this is a really good opportunity for you to brush up on why those procedures are so important.
Definitely.
Think data security compliance.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just about being organized.
Right.
It's about protecting sensitive information.
Absolutely. And this is also a good area where you can really become a valuable asset to your team.
Okay.
By understanding the why behind all of these procedures.
That's a good point.
So that you can explain it to other people.
Okay, very good.
Who might not understand.
All right, last item for the systems team.
Okay.
This one is about app requests.
Okay.
New app request process. Again.
Again, huh?
That again and that emoji.
I know, right?
That tells a story.
It does sound to me like maybe this process has been a bit of a pain point in the past.
Okay.
So I'm curious to hear, what they've changed.
Yeah.
Why they've changed it, what's different now. If I were going to this training, I would go in with some questions.
Okay.
About how this new process addresses maybe some of the pain points of the previous process.
Okay, so you're saying be prepared.
Yeah.
To
give that feedback.
To give that feedback and to say, hey, this is what was frustrating about the old process.
Yes, because if you're feeling it, I'm sure other people are feeling it too.
That's a good point.
And they're looking for that feedback.
Right. They want to know how to make it better.
Exactly.
Okay, so be prepared to share that.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to the network team.
Okay, that's good.
They are all about tightening up security.
Love it.
Starting with disabling unused network ports.
Okay. Now, for those who aren't network gurus, could you give us a quick explanation?
Yeah, for those of us who don't work on the network team every day.
Right.
What are we even talking about with these ports?
So basically, think of a port like a doorway into a computer or a network.
Okay.
And each door is numbered.
Mm-hmm.
And certain doors are designated for certain types of communication.
Okay.
So like you've got a door for web browsing, you've got a door for email, you've got a door for file sharing, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And if a door isn't being used, it's best to just close it and lock it. Because otherwise it's just an open invitation for trouble.
So by disabling these unused ports, they're essentially just closing off potential entry points and making the network more secure.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And I see here they're focusing on ports that haven't been used in 30 days.
Right.
So it sounds like they're trying to strike a balance between not just shutting everything down.
Right. They don't want to accidentally shut down something.
Right, because what if something's mission critical?
Exactly.
And it needs to be.
You don't want to cause more problems by trying to increase security.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. They've also got some exceptions listed here.
Right.
Building infrastructure equipment and projectors. Any thoughts there?
Well, I mean, building infrastructure equipment probably needs constant network access.
Okay.
Things like security cameras,
Sure.
HVAC systems.
Right.
You don't want those going offline.
You don't want those to go down.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
And then projectors, sometimes it's better to just leave those ports enabled.
Right.
Than to have to constantly be like, oh, we need to use the projector. Let's go in and...
Right, and re-enable the port.
Exactly. It's just easier to...
It's got to be easier.
Leave it open.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so we've got security. We've got practicality.
Right.
This network team is on top of it.
I love it.
The next thing on their list is something that I found interesting. Biannual cable cleanup work tickets.
Interesting. Okay.
Twice a year.
So every 6 months?
Every 6 months, they are doing a cable cleanup.
Wow.
That seems oddly specific.
It does.
Is cable management really that big of a deal?
Cable management is a huge deal.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
So you know how we were just talking about unused ports?
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if part of this biannual cleanup is physically removing cables that are no longer being used.
Oh.
Because when you have this giant rat's nest of cables, it's not just that it's messy.
Yeah.
It's that it can actually impact network performance.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You can have signal interference.
Yeah.
It's really hard to troubleshoot if you need to.
Oh, sure, because you can't even see.
You don't know what's plugged into what, and
right.
It's bad.
So this is
important.
This is them trying to keep everything
but organized and running smoothly. Yes.
Okay.
So that's good.
Good for them. All right, so let's move on to the device team.
Okay.
Their first item is spare pools for devices checked out to rooms, not people.
Okay.
So that sounds like we've got like a lending library for tech, basically.
Exactly. So they've got a pool of devices, laptops, tablets, projectors, whatever it is, that can be easily checked out to rooms or departments as needed.
That makes sense. So they're not buying like one device per room.
Right. It's all centralized.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they say they're using something called IO ticketing software.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
Have you used it?
I haven't personally, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be really good for managing IT assets.
Okay. So it can do things like track inventory and checkouts and...
Yes. All of that, keeping track of maintenance schedules, when the warranty's up.
Right. All of that good stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And judging by the screenshots here, it looks like they're using it to its full potential.
Good.
We could see, they've got different categories for different types of devices. They've got substitute laptops for classrooms, and they've even got them organized by school location.
Wow.
So that's like next level.
That's impressive.
Organization.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, and that's what's so cool about this software is it's not just about knowing where a device is.
Right.
It's about, understanding its entire life cycle.
Exactly. And that is key for things like preventative maintenance.
Right.
Making sure that things get replaced before they become obsolete.
Right. So you're not using something that's completely out of date.
Yep.
Okay. One thing I did think was interesting about this spare pool system is that it's specifically for devices checked out to rooms, not people.
What do you make of that distinction?
I wonder if that means that they're moving towards a more flexible work environment,
Oh, okay.
Instead of everybody having their own assigned device.
Right.
Maybe it's more of a you use what you need when you need it kind of thing.
It's giving me future of work vibes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very trendy.
Okay. Last detail about these spare pool laptops.
Okay.
The screenshots show that they're set up to be read-only.
Any
idea why they would do that?
Well, with a read-only setup, there's a lot of advantages.
Okay.
I mean, for one thing, it ensures that everybody who uses one of these laptops is going to have the same experience.
Right. There's no customizing it to your liking, really.
Exactly. No worrying about different user profiles, missing software, wonky settings.
Right.
It just simplifies things for everybody.
It's all about that streamlined experience.
Yes.
It's okay.
And of course, for the device team, this also means that maintenance and troubleshooting are going to be way easier.
I'm sure.
Because, let's be honest, when you give people free reign on devices,
Yeah.
things can go sideways pretty quickly.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
Yes, so this is definitely a way to mitigate some of that risk.
Okay, so it's not just about practicality, it's also about protecting their systems.
Yes,
Wow.
exactly. Very interesting.
And you know what else I think is interesting about this whole read-only thing?
What's that?
Think about how it might impact work habits. You know,
Okay, how so?
if everything is read-only, you're primarily consuming information, not creating it.
That's a really good point.
It's a very different way of using technology than what we might be used to.
Right, it's like you're accessing resources, you're collaborating,
Right.
but you're not necessarily,
Yeah.
downloading every app under the sun.
Right, exactly. It's a much more, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for.
Focus.
Focused. Yes, thank you.
Okay,
A much more focused way of working. So,
interesting.
yeah, makes you wonder if that kind of environment fosters a more productive work style or if it stifles creativity a little bit. Right. Or maybe it does both. It just depends on the person.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Very interesting. All right. So we've talked about systems, we've talked about network, we've talked about device.
Mm-hmm.
Now we need to talk about the elephant in the room,
Okay.
which is we have class tech, we have synergy, and we have admin on
Yeah.
the agenda.
They're there.
But we have 0 minutes allotted for each.
Interesting.
What's your take on that?
It's really strange, right? Because like you said, they're on the agenda.
They're there.
And the slide deck actually has
Yeah, there are slides.
slides for each team.
Yeah, like they're there.
So they're involved somehow.
Yeah.
But to what extent?
We don't know.
It's a mystery.
Big question mark.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe they are part of the surprise activity.
Okay. Oh, that's true.
Maybe they're a surprise.
Maybe those presentations are the surprise?
Right. Like it's not even hinted at
Oh,
on the agenda.
interesting.
Or maybe they're more behind the scenes.
Mm.
Like maybe they're there to provide support
Oh, that's true.
or resources
Okay.
during the training.
So we've got some things that are like very detailed,
Right.
and then we have radio silence from these other teams.
Exactly. It's very interesting.
Speaking of interesting,
Yes.
can't let you go without me asking you one more time about this surprise activity.
Oh, the surprise activity.
And now I'm really invested.
Yes.
What do you think it's going to be?
I don't know.
Any last minute predictions?
Oh.
Any other clues you're picking up on?
Well, I mean, a part of me thinks it's got to be related to the training content in some way, right?
Okay.
Like maybe it's a hands-on activity where they have to apply what they've learned
Oh, okay.
about cybersecurity or network management or...
Oh, like a simulated data breach?
Ooh, that'd be fun.
That would be cool.
Right, like you have to work with your team
Yeah.
to find the vulnerability and plug it before it spreads to the whole network.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Right.
And that would be engaging. It would be practical.
Yes.
And it would really test their skills.
Exactly. And it would allow them to be creative.
That's a good point.
Right, because sometimes the best solutions are the ones that are a little bit outside the box.
Very true.
So,
And, you know, it really fits with the overall tone of this training, which is like, we're not just going to throw information at you.
right.
We want you to engage with it,
I want you to use it.
apply it,
Yes,
maybe even challenge it a little bit.
exactly. Be an active participant in your own development.
No,
right?
exactly.
Don't just sit there and let it wash over you.
Yeah.
Really think about this stuff.
Okay. So big takeaway for our listener who is heading into this training.
Go in with a curious mind.
Okay.
Be ready to engage
Yes.
on multiple levels,
I love it.
right? You've got the agenda to guide you, but don't be afraid to ask questions if something comes up.
Right.
Share your experiences if you've got a real-world anecdote that's relevant.
Yeah.
Share it.
Don't be afraid to like raise your hand and get involved.
Yes, participation is key.
Yes. Okay. I like it. So, listener, you're going into this training armed with all of the information that we've gotten from the agenda and from the slide deck.
Yes,
But we still have the mystery
we do.
of these silent teams and
Yeah.
the surprise activity.
Yep.
So head on over to our website or to our social media
Let us know what you think.
and let us know your predictions.
What are your theories?
What do you think is going to happen at this training?
Yes.
All right, until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.